She never remembered waking up, which made sense because she never remembered going to sleep. Every morning was filled with the same haziness, the unsurety. Every day her reflection would grow dimmer and dimmer in the mirror. She was determined that that girl that she could see out the corner of her eyes, she was real. She was pretty. She didn't know who she was. It ate her up inside, but she always thought that if she put on a pretty smile, combed her hair, that she'd know. But she never did. She stared into the eyes that were supposedly hers, traced her lips, tried to feel the hair brush through her fingers, but she didn't feel anything. Every step was familiar. It felt like she'd stepped them 1,000 times before. The light from the window was the only reminder that there was, in fact, a world out there. She just couldn't reach it. She'd play the songs she'd heard 10,000 times before, to which she knew all the words, but she'd never sing along. Mostly because she couldn't hear herself sing even if she tried. So instead she'd dance and trace the words with her feet, sway her white dress. She never left the 4 fences that held her in, but the flowers were always nice, although she could never smell them. When it rained, it didn't bother her. She couldn't feel the water pierce her hands. A solemn remembrance of the life that she must have had. Each day she would lie, tormented by a past she couldn't remember. She would find journals and search each page looking for anything. Something to tell her who she was, where she was from, but each page was blank. The absence of nothing seemed to mock her, until the laughter was deafening. She would cry until it felt like her lungs had filled up with her own tears, and then she would scream. Nobody would hear her. Noon was when the flood would start gushing through the cracks. And the cloth that once separated her remembering and her forgetting began to fade. She would know. The transition always hurt more and more each time she did it, but she could never remember doing it the day before. The realization that it wasn't that she didn't remember, it's that she didn't want to. A single tear often washed away the wall she built up herself. She would then let herself remember the pain. But then she'd wipe it away. She knew that she didn't recognize the girls in the pictures because they were happy. She wasn't her. Not anymore, at least. She remembered the water A sudden rush of color as she felt herself escape. The fear came back later. That was always the worst. She remembered her white dress, although then it wasn't so white. She hated herself for letting this happen to her perfect life, for not fighting, for not trying hard enough, for not seeing the red flags in her perfect white life. That night she picked up the phone. She was gonna call her mother, but the words escaped her too soon. She remembered applying her red lipstick, just as red as her lips were now that the blood had started gushing. She remembered what it felt like to have the carpet beneath her feet, to feel the cold glass. But they weren't good feelings. It was pain. It was fear. It was the feeling of warm blood trickling down her arm. She saw herself in the reflection and realized that this is what had happened. She couldn't change it. She was dead. Every night the bathtub was always half empty. But for her, it was always half full.